Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Breja. Today I will be doing a long-awaited video, how I got into the University of Chicago, or just actually my academic profile and any tips I have, because who really knows exactly why I got into UChicago, but I'll make my best speculations. So currently I am a fourth-year undergraduate at the University of Chicago, as some of you may know. I should have made this video like 3 years ago, but better late than never. So I'll try to make this as concise as possible. I don't want this to go on for too long, but just a disclaimer. Just because of how I got into UChicago, or the, grades, or standardized test score, or like all the curriculars I did, this doesn't mean that you need to have this as well. Everyone has something unique about them, and don't think that you'll have to have exactly what I have had to get in. So first, let me just go over the, more the numbers sort of part of it, just to get that out of the way. For the ACT, I got a 32. I don't know the breakdown of my ACT score, but I think I got the highest in science, because I'm like a science person, so that's another reason why I took the ACT. I got probably like a 34 on the science section, and the rest it was either like 30. I think the lowest I probably got would be a 29 on a section, but I don't know. It averaged to 32 obviously, so I guess that's it. I didn't take any SAT subject tests. I just took the ACT plus writing, and that's all we needed to apply. I didn't take a TOEFL score because I'm a native English speaker. For my GPA, I got about a 4.0 out of 4.3 because I took the IB, which is the International Baccalaureate. If you're not familiar of it, it's kind of like AP, except it's a program. You do like 3 higher level classes and 3 standard level, and then you do some like theory of knowledge, like a extended essay. And it's a test-based, and then you get a score at the end, and if you get above a certain score, then you get the diploma. So on top of having like letter grades, I also had IB grades, which is kind of unique for the school. Some schools only do IB, but we did both. Because we had some students not doing IB and some students doing IB, it was weighted, I think, out of a 4.3 or a 4.2. I think it was 4.3. So my GPA was a 4.0 on that scale out of a 4.3, which I'm not sure exactly how that translates. I mean, I mostly got A's, but I did get like a B in French, B plus in French, and it was really just French, I think. So if you're interested, I took psychology HL, chemistry HL, biology HL, math SL, English SL, and French SL. And then for my IB score, I got around, I think I got like a 37, which wasn't like the best score ever. I think it's out of 42. I don't think that numbers are as important as some people think they are. It depends on the school that you go to. I've known some communities that think that scores are the most important thing, that if you get the best score ever, you're basically guaranteed admissions. Just not true. Or if you get a lower end score, that there's no way you can get in, which is not true. So my scores, they weren't the best. They weren't like, I wasn't valedictorian. I wasn't saladictorian. My ACT score wasn't a 35. It was a 32. I wasn't the strongest numbers wise. I know some schools care more than other schools, but what must be true is that University of Chicago, I don't think they value that the highest. What I think is most important to get into UChicago is the essays. Like, I'm certain that's the most important thing to them, because they really, try hard every year to make their essay questions unique. And UChicago has this whole brand where they want these like insightful thinkers who are like nerdy and who are like quirky and who creative, and passionate, and maybe like just about like kind of anything, passionate about like unique things. They just want these kinds of people, and I think that's really important to them. So it's not the why UChicago that is the most important, I would think, because I don't think my why UChicago was that good. I feel like each of those essays that I did for each school was a little bit, I felt like it was kind of like there was only so much you could say for those essays. You know, that I feel like if you're not, obviously you want to nail it, but like it's kind of easy to nail. You just gotta make it obviously unique to UChicago and really just answer the question. Like make it unique to UChicago, show that you've done your research, and that you can relate it back to yourself for each kind of point that you make of why you like it. And just show that you have some like goals, like you have some goals, some future goals. Because they also ask about that. And how you would contribute to it. And like in your unique way, like what makes you, why should they admit you kind of thing. Like I said, I hope to contribute to the diversity and education of culture. You know, I played into their whole core aspect because that's really important to them. And yeah, I mentioned their intellectually curious environment. I think UChicago, what I noticed is they really like people to be questioning. So they want that to shine through the essays. I noticed that both my essays do that. So I think that was part of the reason why they thought it was interesting. Actually, UChicago sends you, I think they send everybody this, but they send you like a PR package. I don't know. Yeah, a PR package. So it's a bunch of swag. School, like a scarf and a shirt, and then also a handwritten letter that's like hi, like when you're accepted, not just when you're, you know, accept them back. They're like, they said, I really liked your like Waldo essay. Like, can't wait for you to come to UChicago. I don't know, that's not what they said, but they mentioned my essay specifically. Not the why UChicago one, but the weird one that they do. So this is the prompt that I picked, because in my year, I think they do this now every year, but my year they let you pick any prompts from the previous prompts. So I went back and I looked, and I was inspired by the question, so where is Waldo really? So what I ended up doing for that question was writing a short story, actually. It was only 2 pages long, single spaced, and I sort of took a existential turn. I don't know, I was just kind of inspired because I had this idea, like, where is Waldo really? I wanted to be like, well, who is Waldo really? You know? So I'll read you a little bit of it and you'll see how emo it is. We all get lost sometimes. Some get lost for much longer than others. Some never find themselves. Waldo peers at himself in the mirror. Is this really himself looking back at him? He is trying to define himself, but he can't. Waldo cannot be the face looking back at him, because if this face were altered, it would still be him. So then where is Waldo? In his brain? Maybe we are born with brains as unique as fingerprints, each print creating their own personality. Then why aren't twins the same person? Waldo was stuck in a loop of questions. He was really just trying to answer one, simple one. Where had he gone? Where was he really? Waldo has felt detached from the world for much too long. He thinks one day his soul just slipped away, and though he puts up a good facade most of the time, in reality, he feels like he is drifting in an endless space of nothingness, en route to some black hole. He simply doesn't feel anything much anymore. Like a burnt-out candle, he won't light and lacks any sort of passion or purpose. Yeah, I think at this time I was feeling this way for some reason. I mean, you know, life's hard. So I kind of just put myself into it. I was like, Waldo was kind of me. I was like, I think at the time I felt sort of like questioning. So obviously that was a lot of questions. Then, blah blah blah. In the end, Waldo goes to Beijing City. Heat hovers around his skin, the air denser and heavier to walk through. He smells a combination of cooking fires, street food, and cigarettes. Dozens of people bike past on thin city bikes, paying no attention to Waldo. He takes some comfort in feeling invisible. For a moment, he too pretends he doesn't exist. So it doesn't remain like super weird and like emo the whole essay. He ends up saying that like he likes to travel as an escape, so he's going to do this. So he goes to the Great Wall of China, and then he finds a I think this is where it gets kind of creative. He finds a rip in the sky, kind of like a glitch in the Matrix, when he's on the Great Wall of China, and it's like a really bright thing, so he ends up ripping it open more, and he crawls through it, and he hops out of the storybook, and now he's in the real three-dimensional world. First he realizes he was in a storybook, and he was like shook, and he's like, oh my gosh, like this is why I felt so empty, and like I wasn't in the real world, like. But then like then now that he's there, he like it's still the same thing. He like feels the same, so he's like, okay, well then that's not it. But then he sees this girl who he goes to hide, and he sees this girl that was watching, who was waiting for her dad to like come to be done with work. He's like one of those like on his BlackBerry, like doesn't pay much attention to her, but he was gonna go play Where's Waldo with him, and then so they go over to play Where's Waldo, but he left the book and all the like Waldos disappeared, and so the girl is like super disappointed, and her dad like never even like looked down, so. And then she goes off all sad, and then Waldo's watching this whole thing, and he realizes that he made her happy, and that like he makes people happy. Like he realized that his passion is to travel the world and, you know, make kids happy, I guess. It's not the best conclusion, I feel like, but anyways, that's what I did. So he decided to go back and make people happy, put a smile on people's faces. So in the end, it's like, where is Waldo? Waldo's everywhere, forever traveling around the world, and forever in all the hearts of those who grew up with Where's Waldo. I think I related to this also because I really liked playing Where's Waldo, and I would play with my dad. Not that he was a distant, like, BlackBerry dad, but I spent way too long on that than I needed to. So yeah, my essay was really creative, so my tips for that is make creative essays. Don't just copy my kind of idea, just create something new. Like I've heard some people's essays, and they're like, a lot of people's are really different than mine. Most people, I mean everyone's different, is from each other. They just kind of want to see that you're like weird, but in like a inquisitive way, that you like push the norm, like that you think outside the box. That's the most important thing, like thinking outside the box for those essays. That essay is the most important thing on your application. You need to, you know, nail that essay. I think it's make or break, honestly. So in terms of the interview, I did not have an interview. I did not go to campus. I was in Switzerland, so that's just like, they didn't tell me to interview. I didn't have like the money to go to US and tour, and my family was in Africa, so like, yeah. Okay, so for extracurriculars, which are also another thing that I think is important, like for every school, I think extracurriculars are like really important, as well as the essays. I think that the standardized testing is kind of like, you just need to hit the minimum. Like you just want to aim for the averagely accepted of the school, and like that's enough. Like getting a higher score than that, I don't think is going to help you. Like beyond, like at a certain point, it's not going to help you. That's just my like thought and opinion. I mean, obviously you want to have, you want to use that to demonstrate that you can succeed at their school, and I think that's enough for them. They're not, you know, if you can succeed at their school, then like that like good. You know, there's classes aren't changing based on if you're smarter. So yeah. So for extracurriculars, I had a lot of leadership positions, so I think that's important. I mean, at this point, if you're watching this before you're applying soon, then there's not a lot you can do, but if you're watching this, you know, when you're entering high school or a couple years before you're applying, or a year even before you're applying, then maybe you could try to get into these leadership positions or extracurriculars. Hopefully you've been doing that. So my extracurriculars was, I'll just list them off. First I was secretary for Habitat for Humanity my junior year, and then I was president for Habitat of Humanity my senior year. And I really single-handedly ran that club. It was a lot of work. It was really stressful. The teacher kind of ditched us the following year, and I was like, oh my gosh, this was the club that I was going to try to like be president of, and now it's like not a club anymore. And so I really just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna continue this myself. Like, I don't need them. And so it was a lot of work, but I think it showed through, and like all my teachers recognized it. I got this volunteer service, what's it? Yeah, just like a service award for my grade, which was really cool. I got my name on a plaque. But I think all the teachers just realized how hard I was working. Hopefully that also showed through and maybe a recommendation of mine. I don't know. I also did varsity volleyball for 2 years, my 10th grade and 11th grade. This was a lot easier because I went to a really small school. I really wasn't good at volleyball that much. Like, I was decent, but I wasn't that good. Like, I would no way have even made junior varsity at like a big public high school. I went to a 9th grade, and like, man, there were so many people, like I could not have done that. So, but yeah, and then I had problems with my coach, so I quit. But I did varsity basketball my senior year, which I actually got to play for that one. And then I did this club called Event Planners, where we kind of did everything from setting up for like these banquets that my school did, like decorating. We did a lot of decorations. I think that was like a lot of it. The thing we did was like we planned prom and we decorated for prom. So I was the head of that my senior year, and I did that I think my 11th grade and 12th grade. So yeah, that's two like clubs I was leading. And then another leadership position that I did was I was an ambassador, which is what we called it, but it was kind of like a prefect, if you've heard of that. I know that they have it in like Harry Potter. Basically, we were kind of like the RAs of high school, except way less responsibility. I mean, we just kind of try to make some like events for the dorm every once in a while, and we were supposed to be like, we went through leadership training. I had to apply for that. We kind of were supposed to be like the role model and like the helping hand, just someone that like, it's more like an orientation aid, if anything. We helped with orientation. So yeah, we were just that person that people could go to. And then I also did some music stuff. Rock School is what it was called. I like barely did that, but I think I might have put it on my application, like a year of it. I sung with people, like kind of like a school club that was like, had people who could play guitar, sing, or play piano. So we just created like these sets of songs and stuff. So yeah, and I played guitar, so I taught myself guitar in like 10th grade, and then so I think I put that on there too. For languages, I had 5 years of French and put down intermediate for Mandarin. The point of showing these extracurriculars is because they want you to contribute to their school. So, if they see if you do sports, they see if you lead clubs and start things and are really involved, that you're going to contribute to their school. You're going to be involved in their school, and then it'll create an awesome environment, and, it'll be awesome. So, yeah. In summary, study for your standardized tests, but it's not the most important thing. Do well in school. just to show UChicago is a really hard school. They just want to see that you can do well. And do a lot of extracurriculars, show that you're passionate, you're motivated, you're driven, you're making, strides, like you just love life in the sense that you love taking advantage of it. And yeah, make connections with your teachers. I mean, I think I had good recommendations because I was actually friends with my teachers. I cook dinner with one of them. I don't know. It was easier because I went to boarding school, but really take the time to know your teachers. And then yeah, leadership positions, languages are nice. And then essays, really important. Most important thing is the essays, in my opinion. Just my opinion. I wish you guys the best of luck. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry if it was longer than I intended it to be. There was kind of a lot to cover, but I hope you appreciated it now that this video is finally done. I don't want to miss anything, so let me know if you have any questions. I can do some more UChicago videos. My experience here, more on me, I don't know what you guys want. So if you thought this video was useful, give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. My name is Breja, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!